This is a Suboptimal podcast. Check out our suboptimal content at suboptimal.co.
Dororo, I think that's how you pronounce it. We got the two full weebs, Copper Lion and Comfy Gamer. Hello, and I am your half a weeb, Mr. Vengeance. This episode, or this anime, is about some character. I don't know what his name is. Actually, why don't Copper, you go ahead.
You can give his name. Yeah.
Yakimaru. Is that the main character's name?
That's the main character's name is Hyakimaru. So this show follows the tale of Hyakimaru and Dororo.
Yeah, Dororo's actually a little kid.
He's a little kid. He's relevant to the story, but I was surprised that it was named after him.
Yeah, I was surprised too. It's like, really? Who's the title character?
I was expecting Hyakimaru to be named Dororo, but
so was I. But nope.
So it follows them. Hyakimaru is in the unfortunate situation where before he was born, his father sold all of his organs to an army of demons so that he could be the ruler of their nation. And so he's basically like a walking skeleton, more or less.
It was very gross.
No arms, no legs, no skin, no nervous system, no eyes, ears, nose. Like, he's just got like eye holes and a mouth hole and a torso.
I honestly don't. Yeah. I don't feel like. Did his father know exactly what he was getting rid of for the demons? He just prayed the demons.
No, his dad just said basically, you can take anything of mine you want. So the demons went, all right, we're gonna take all of the organs and limbs from your firstborn kid.
Yeah, so as soon as this kid was born, and it was just like, it was quite gross. It was just like no skin. It was a defunct baby. Defunct, that sounded really rude. Anyway.
It just looked like muscle over him, and that was it.
It was gross. So he basically was like, yes, the demons heard my call. So that's great. He knew he was going to end up getting a whole bunch of power. And then he sent the wet nurse with the baby to basically just throw it in the river.
Yes.
And she ended up putting him in a boat and sending him down the road.
And then, where he's later found by a doctor who gives him prosthetics basically to,
survive,
help him live. Then teaches him how to use a sword. Then it's discovered that if he kills demons, he'll get pieces of his body back.
Yeah.
And so he sets out to go and do that.
Like in the first episode, he has this super awesome fight scene.
Oh yeah, with the big blob thing.
Yeah.
And he gets his skin back.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one.
So, and then in the third episode, you find out that the reason they know he gets stuff back is because he gets. Was it the third episode where he gets his leg back?
Yeah, he gets his leg
back. So. Yeah, it's a flashback though. It flashes back to the first time he killed a demon, and the demon knocks off his prosthetic leg, and his leg just grows. So the doctor who made the prosthetic is like, "Oh, what the fuck? His leg grew back."
Yeah. So they reason that that's what's going on.
Right.
So something I found out is that this is actually a remake.
Yeah, I found that out too.
I noticed that too while I was looking through it.
It seems like there's not only an anime, but there's like an OVA out there somewhere as well.
Yes. Now the original. This was originally made. An OVA
original video animation.
Yeah. Okay. It's basically something that takes place after the main series, and it's direct to video.
It's a short, essentially. Like, for all intents and purposes, it's a short animation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think short movie direct to video. But apparently this was a manga back in the 1960s that was then turned into an anime that's 26 episodes long, aired in 1969, and then they're doing this remake here where it looks like this one's going to be 24 episodes long.
Yeah. This is also 50 years later, so...
Yes. So
that's a lot of time.
The
That's
art style's
amount of time.
A lot different. It also explains a lot about the pacing of the story. Because, oh boy, was I expecting more action in this than what we got.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna end up getting more so, though. Like it has to. I feel like it's going to.
I would hope so. For anybody who wants to keep watching the show or pick it up. Right now, it's just maybe 2 to 3 minutes of like fight combat action per episode is what it's looking like. And I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting a lot more, oomph for the fight scenes as well. And it's just there's not a lot there. But I think it's because they're following the original story, which is fine. That's being true to your source material is great. It's just this did not hook me at all. Like it was a struggle bus to get through this one for me.
See, really? I actually really enjoyed this.
Really?
I really liked the concept of the story, and I liked where they were going, and I was left interested with what was going to be happening next. I felt a desire to watch the next episode.
I think it's a really cool concept. It doesn't really do anything for me though. I'm not really
I can see that.
Interested. Yeah. Like I don't dislike it, but do I think I'm gonna keep up with it? No, probably not. I think it's one of those things where it's like maybe it'd be cool, but I'm over it. Probably won't be continuing it.
It's probably going to be one of the shows that I keep up with this season.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out what those are going to be, but I feel like that's going to fall into it.
Yeah, I think one of my big issues here was the fact that I was expecting more action than what was there, and that's probably what turned me off this show.
The action scene that was in like the first episode was so good, though.
It was just like a minute and a half long.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of that, and there wasn't a whole lot in the next episode, and then there was not a whole lot in the next episode, but like it's still existent.
Yes, it's there in little bits and pieces, and as you say, it might pick up in the later episodes, but in the first ones, if you go in expecting a lot of action, you're going to be disappointed in this one.
But you know what it does do? It gets rid of the typical whiny main character.
Yes, just because the main character doesn't speak.
Because he's mute.
They literally do not have a tongue.
He doesn't have lungs.
Yeah, that too.
How is he even alive? It doesn't make sense.
Because the goddess saved him.
Yeah,
according to the statue.
Yeah.
According to the original description for this, it wasn't just prosthetics that the doctor gave him. He also used healing magics and stuff, which keeps him alive. It also makes him super hard to kill, and gives him like superhuman strength and whatnot, which is why he can fight demons.
Neat.
What's funny is like in this one they allude to that's not the case at all for this situation, because you have him and the doctor's like, you have some weird unnatural strength and things are hunting you down because of it. And that's why he taught him how to fight, is because he has this strength. And he shouldn't be alive, but the wet nurse is like, well, the goddess sacrificed herself so that you could survive. It's like,
did they mention that in this, or is this on like
they mentioned that in this one?
Did they? I didn't notice that part. Okay.
Yeah, it was some side stuff. Like the little statue, like when the dad walked in and was like, what happened to the statue? It was like, well, the nurse said that she sacrificed herself so that the boy could live. And he's like, cool, kill the kid. And then the doctor made comments when he was training him about how he has this unnatural superhuman strength for some reason.
Okay.
So it looks like they're tweaking it a little.
I guess I missed that part. Okay.
It was a lot of side comments that could have been easy to miss.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, what was the first episode? You run into this Dororo character who's getting...
Yes. Dororo is a thief who is getting the crap kicked out of them while chased around and getting the crap kicked out of them because they stole goods from a party of merchants that they offered to help. In reality, it was just to set them up to steal their shit. Then
so he does this a lot.
Yes. Yeah, this is apparently a thing with Dororo. They claim to be like the country's dirtiest thief.
Yeah.
According to the synopsis of the show.
Now, the main character did not step in to save him. He was just kind of like, oh, hey, look at that. But then that like blob demon ate everybody.
Correct.
No, it ate two of them, and then he saved the third, didn't he? I don't remember.
It ate three of them. It ate the three guys who were attacking
It did eat the three? Okay. I thought maybe he like cut the arm off before he got the third guy.
It was gonna eat Dororo, but...
Oh, okay. And then he saved Dororo.
He saved Dororo. I think the reason he didn't step in to help Dororo is that he couldn't tell. That's the thing to mention. The main character can't actually see because he doesn't have eyes.
Right.
So the way he senses the world is he senses what they call the soul of everything around him. So he can tell if it's offering threat and what level of threat it is or not. if something offers a threat that's red, it's demonic, and he kills it. Anything else, he doesn't really bother with. So for him to see, two greenish colored, white colored souls going at it, he might have thought, oh, those might just be animals. That just might be something that happens, because he can see through vegetation and stuff like that, right? To where animals and stuff are. So seeing something eat one another is probably not a huge thing to him. He probably just thought it was just nature being nature, right? So
maybe I could see that. Could be the reason for it.
Highly possible.
Yeah.
And it's also completely possible he doesn't really have an emotional state that's, quote, normal. Because
maybe he might just not give a shit. Like, he doesn't talk to people. He's alone for the most
he's
part.
never heard another voice. He's never seen a person. He's never spoken to one.
Until the most recent episode, he hasn't felt pain.
Right. And he's never felt anybody because he doesn't have a nervous system. So he had no.
Although he did hug the doctor before he left.
Well, the doctor hugged him, yes.
Oh, well. Yeah, okay. So, like, that was definitely the person that raised him.
Yes, the doctor raised him. The doctor has something of a history, it looks like, as well.
Yeah, he seems like he's trying to redeem himself because he did a lot of fucked up shit to help the main character's father.
He
doesn't seem like
the army that was like not normal brutal, but like putting people up on a cross brutal.
Yeah, they were crucifying people alive.
And he was the guy who was doing the crucifying.
Yeah, he would crucify people. He'd cut off limbs from like enemy soldiers that had surrendered or that were injured. He'd like dismember them so they couldn't fight ever again. Stuff like that. So, and then it looks like, so in the flashback for where he's working with that guy still, we see a woman who runs out and gets killed. And I can't tell if she was upset about the guy he was crucifying at the time or if that was his wife. It's not really explained, right?
I don't know.
Because he sees the soldiers kill her, and despite all the crap he's been doing for whoever knows how long, that's the tipping point for him, and he throws himself off a cliff.
I think it might have been the idea that, like, so you see like all of the men and you kill all the men and all that, but then suddenly you realize, oh wait, it's not just this person I'm killing. There's this completely innocent family at home that's losing a husband and a breadwinner and a father. Like, and suddenly they've lost so much more than this guy who just lost his life, and he's punishing these people unnecessarily for that. So he just hops. And then he's saved by some sailors, and he decides to try to do everything he can to be a better person, even though he knows he can't atone for his sins. Like, his apprentice found out that he was the guy who killed his apprentice's parents, and his apprentice was like, I'm gonna kill you. He's like, just like wait till I give this kid like prosthetic legs, then you can kill me. I don't give a shit after that.
So he was just
completely accepted his death.
He was completely giving out prosthetics to like anybody who showed up.
Yes.
Just to try to,
anybody who needed help, he was giving medical assistance to, and if they'd lost limbs, replacing limbs.
Yeah. I was gonna say how the fuck like the wooden prosthetics move and shit, but you know,
they wouldn't. But that's a fantasy element for the show.
Yeah, it's 100% a fantasy element. It's the idea that. And this is not new.
No, anime has to be realistic. Get out of here.
So there's like a lot of shows and stuff where people are like, oh, it's a prosthetic and you have a nub for like your right arm. But because of the ways you move your nub, you'll be able to completely manipulate this like it were a normal arm.
Yeah, including your finger movements and stuff. So
funny enough, there are actual prosthetics that can do that to an extent.
Yes.
They're really, really impressive. Like, these ones are obviously like to another degree because they're using like fingers and wrist movement.
Yes. Now they are starting to develop prosthetics that do that have fingers and stuff that can move, but they're based upon nerve sensors. So if you still have your nervous, like the nerves, they can still work that way, right? It interprets the signals. They have to be dialed in. They're very expensive. They're very hard to make. This is definitely a fantasy element. They even go as far to mention in the show here that he doesn't learn how to make this type of prosthetic here. He was picked up by foreign sailors, right? He never says where from, just says they're foreigners. They take him back to their country, and that's where he learns this magical art of crafting prosthetics, and he eventually travels back to Japan to try to atone for all the crap he's done.
Right.
People. So we don't know where he learned stuff from. We don't know what sailors they were. For all we know, they were from Atlantis.
Okay. So also, in the time after he had his son, who he basically told the wet nurse to throw in the river, he basically, his wife was just there to bear children. So he had another kid. What was his? I don't know what his son's name is, but you can tell the mother is like, she doesn't give a shit.
She specifically was like, I think that this child has a will to live, and I want to take care of it. And he said, haha, fuck you, kill it.
Yes. More likely a 100% political marriage.
Yeah. It, like very, very clear politics.
Yes, they have another kid. That kid thinks he's the firstborn. It's not really told any different.
I mean, would you tell the kid any different?
No. He knows his mother is not really like super attached to him. In response, he's super attached to his dad, so I can see that becoming an issue later on.
Yeah. That's gonna be something. I don't know if the main character they'll fight, because he was teaching his son how to fight as well.
Well, yeah, they're members of the ruling class would know how to use a sword. They would be required to like go to war and stuff like that, right? So
right.
Yeah.
That would be a thing they have to do. Especially when his dad wants to, rule the world.
Yeah. Yeah. His dad, who is like super just like ultra greed, wants to rule the world.
Yep.
Who like I read the synopsis for the show and I was like, wow, his dad's a piece of shit. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, he didn't really know what he's getting into. And then the dad had that creepy smile after he figured out that his deal went through. And I was like, oh, the dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that's all he wanted?
Yeah.
Shit, I got scot-free. This is great.
Like that was so like, wow, I actually despise this character on an emotional level.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point, though. They really want you to...
You're absolutely
supposed to hate that man. But it's... You're like, oh, what's he going to give up? What's it going to cost him? Like, is he going to be upset? And he's like, shit, this is great. I got a scot-free, no problems at all. Toss
you
that
can
thing
make
in the
it...
river,
He tells his wife, and she just had the kid. He's like, you can have another one. Like,
he's like, he literally, he doesn't say like, oh, you can have another kid. He looks at her and he says, you will bear me another child.
Yeah, like, you're going to have another kid.
Like,
yeah, that's true. He did do that. So yeah, this guy,
100%, no choice. Like, this is what's happening. This is what's going on.
And it was like, that's brutal. It was like, hey, fuck you. You're gonna do this. And I was like, okay, I guess. But I like the mom character, but the dad is something.
Yeah. The dad is
yeah.
He's a character. He's not. He's gonna get his comeuppance. That's the only thing I'm
sure he will. I'm sure. I also think second episode where they introduced the old man, and like the old man could kind of communicate with Dororo, like things about this kid, about the main character.
They introduced the old man in the concept of like the blind people's sight in the first episode, where it's like, hey, look, I can see you. It's like, you're not a demon, but you're not a human. I think you're just cursed. And then he like walks away. And you can tell like he's seeing things, and he kills a demon by down smashing on him.
Cool. It was like a guitar handle.
But I was very, very excited, I was very happy to see him come in, because I was like, at least this character is... Still, he can't talk, but at least there's going to be some reason that we can we can communicate with him a little bit at the moment.
Yeah. So. At some point, he'll be able to see. At some point, he'll be able to speak.
Probably.
And then, he'll be able to hear. Like,
can you
I'm
imagine
expecting that at some point?
Can you imagine if it was being like super realistic, and he like finally like got the ability to speak?
Yeah.
And he didn't know how.
And he's just like,
Yeah, he doesn't know words. He's never heard sound before, right? Like they might go that way, because it shows him getting his nervous system back and then stepping into a fire because he's never felt heat or anything or pain before.
Yeah.
So he just walks into the fire and he's like, my foot.
I'm like, what the fuck?
But like, if if you've ever seen videos of like the involuntary sounds that deaf people make, I'd like to imagine that that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, we might.
Maybe.
It's hard to say. I don't know where they're going to go with it, or if they're going to go magically. He knows language, so
it could be he was saved. There's a lot of supernatural shit going on, so it's highly possible that he'll get that knowledge. But it's also possible he might not. So we'll see.
Lay down, Kato. Damn it, dog.
But yeah, I enjoyed this. I'm gonna keep watching it. I'm into it. It'll be my third show that I actually watch every week. Because I am incapable of just setting it down if I think it's okay. So
cool. Okay, so
I'm gonna guess one of the others is the slime show.
Yeah.
The other two are Slime and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have seen enough of that show to just kind of I don't. Also,
hearing
you talk about how there's like how many different like series in that. It's just like I
as of right now, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is on the 5th arc.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Which means your
like
5th group of characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
There is a bit of saving grace with the last 3 that they kind of like are much more related, because like the first one's like, oh look, it's the 1800s, and then it's like, oh look, it's the Roaring 20s, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's oh look, it's like World War II, and it's like, oh look, it's modern day, and now everything's just kind of moving sideways instead of forward or backwards in time.
Yeah.
So like the characters interact, like Matt Mercer's character, even though I don't listen to the dub. It's still Matt Mercer's character, was the main character in like the 3rd arc, and he's a secondary in all of the other ones. So, like it's interesting. The 1st arc of JoJo is still the worst, but
it's also the 1st season, so
it is also
shows tend to get better over time.
Yeah,
unless you're Attack on Titan or Sword Art Online.
Okay, I'm gonna argue with you on the Sword Art one though.
That one didn't get better over time.
Never seen it. I wouldn't know. I feel like Sword Art Online was the greatest show from start to finish. Don't at me.
There's a large number of people who actually think that, Dale.
But I've never seen it. Best show ever.
It
was almost as good as the Netflix Death Note.
There are people who like
Copper,
that too.
All right, Copper, listen to me right here. We had this. Me, Fish, and Vengeance had this conversation last night. Mr. Vengeance said he's not going to watch Death Note because he watched the Netflix show. No. Let me get to it. And he thinks that the character's a whiny bitch, so he doesn't want to deal with the series of that.
He's not wrong. I mean,
the character's not a whiny bitch though. He's not the same. Like no, the Netflix series, the Netflix show, like absolutely correct. But like the amount that relates to the actual show.
Yeah, the actual show is very different from what Netflix put out.
Yeah, I mean, I gathered that, but like
you're not watching, unless you're watching the one where it's not him. So
I still don't have any interest in that though.
Yeah, it's not a show that ever caught my attention either. So
I liked it.
Don't worry about it. I know. Yeah, a lot of people loved it. I know the girlfriend loves that show too.
You gotta take a potato chip and eat it.
Sure.
Is that a reference to that show? Because we obviously
there's literally a line where he says, "I'm going to take a potato chip and eat it."
Wow,
it's quite great.
Such intriguing dialogue.
Yeah, I know. Well, so we have quite a few new shows still because we've only covered one.
I want to watch Comfy Slime Show because he's been talking about it and going on about it. And it sounds fucking hilarious.
The Slime Show is great.
What is it called again? The time I turned into a slime?
That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
That time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Yeah. They're on episode 16 now?
We just got episode 16 where we got it's actually my current best girl bot is from episode 16.
Okay.
It's Demon Lord Malim.
I think I'm
like this sounds hilarious. It's gonna be you have to catch up. You've seen this one?
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. I started watching this one when it came out.
Oh yeah. This was the sleeper show of last season.
Okay.
100%.
Nobody expected
This one sounds funny.
It's very funny. It's very charming.
I think the other show, I'm going to make time to check out this week and watch a few episodes of that they have out is the Neverland show. The human.
I've heard good things about that.
The People Farm show, as we were describing it last week.
Yeah. I'm interested in that, and I'm also interested in the Shield Knight.
Yes, I saw the first 2 episodes of Shield Knight, so I gotta go and watch the 3rd, which I think might be out. But I like that show so far. I like the main character.
Okay.
That's good. People love Raccoon Girl.
I'm not surprised. It's an animal girl. Dale hasn't really.
Will have to wait.
That is something we haven't really had in any of the shows we've watched. Is the animal girls for Dale?
Oh yay! That's what I want to watch.
The whole
it's fine.
cat girl thing is a major part of like a lot of animes. We haven't done any of it.
Well, I mean, ReZero has Felix, which is definitely a cat girl.
Hold on, there is a certain.
I'm ready.
Anime. I'm thinking.
Fate Apocrypha has I forget who it is, but she's a cat girl.
Meow.
I'm trying to think of shows. Oh, Sword Art Online has Sinon, who turns into a cat girl.
Okay,
that's good because she's also best girl.
Can we watch Sword Art offline instead? That sounds funner.
You meme, but that's actually a mini series.
Oh wait, what? Okay, well hey, look at me making up shit. That's
real talk. Just because I want to get back to it. Sword Art season 1 was great. 2 sucked. 3's okay. 4 part 1 and 2 are separate, and one's way better than the other. And then the one that's going on right now, the first half is weird. The second half is where it gets awesome.
That's just the show I'm thinking of. I'm just doing.
The problem is there's so much wrong with it.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna drop something. Comfy, are you looking at Dale's chat?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay, this show. So I can't pronounce that. If you want to go,
Asobi ni Ikuyo. That's my attempt.
I think it's Cat Planet Cuties is how it comes out in English.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this whole show
I just want to point out, I Googled it, and the image is, wow, that's an image.
What am I Googling here? I'm scared. What was it? Something about a cat girl? I don't even know.
In your chat.
Asobi ni Ikuyo.
Live.
Asobi ni Ikiyo. That sounds super cool.
It's in your chat. Just copy paste.
Man,
Google.
I don't.
Oh my god. Okay, so I see the thing that's like the openings for it, and it's 2 cat girls in swimsuits with their butts touching and their tails making a heart.
Oh my Lanta. Okay.
I am.
So
that's my fetish.
So this show is quite literally about humans meeting an alien race of cat girls.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Here, I'll go over the synopsis for you. So, Kyo is just another boring, nice guy with a boring, nice life until he meets beautiful, curvaceous cat girl while attending a memorial service for one of his ancestors. Next thing he knows, he's lying in bed with his half-naked beauty next to him. Her name is Eris, and she's come to Earth to learn more about its inhabitants as a representative of planet Katten. She decided to set up shop at Kyo's home for a stay on Earth. Unbeknownst to him, there are quite a few organizations who will attempt to capture her, looking to keep her existence a secret by any means necessary. What's worse is when people around Kyo turn out to secretly be part of those organizations. He'll have to work hard to keep Eris safe from the shady groups. Things are about to get mysterious, exciting, and most importantly, sexy.
Oh boy!
Most importantly,
I can't wait. Definitely.
Let's just show that they have their they have the setup there. They know.
Yeah.
Most importantly, sexy.
Most importantly, sexy. I mean, sounds. So you guys are watching this show, or this is one that you've kind of.
That's one that's that one's an older show. It's from 2010. So it's just a show you can watch. So if we're gonna introduce you to Animal Girls as the thing, probably a good way to go.
I feel like Animal Girls should be a little more passive.
I feel like I already don't
that's
like
too far in the deep end.
I feel like
if I get vetoed and that's what we watch, I'll bitch the whole time, but I'll watch it.
So no meme. I'd like to have him watch No Game No Life only for the cat girls.
No Game, No Life. Did we talk about this one? I feel like I don't remember. There's so many.
It's a very good show, but it's
yeah.
very ecchi, so you'll hate it.
Yeah, we have mentioned that show before as well.
I feel like at some
good
point
and
I'm gonna end up
interesting.
immune to this bullshit though, and just be like, eh.
And when that happens, I'll have you watch the show. Like, it's a very good show, but the problem is there's a lot of like, oh look, she's very clearly naked, and the little girl next to her is wearing her panties as a hat.
What the fuck?
Don't like it. It's because they were like hazing her. But
man,
like
Don't
you would
bully.
hate that kind of stuff, but like the actual concept of the show is really, really interesting. Because it's all about it's about a universe where like games are everything. So like if you want anything, you bet for it in a game and the winner takes all. And you can bet anything as long as it's of equal value. So like people will bet their lives and become slaves. And that sort of thing will happen. And that's how wars are won, because fighting is against the rules of the gods. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so we have to play games instead.
Yeah, because basically all of the gods fought a war and killed each other, and the only god that didn't fight was the god of play, and he basically won by proxy of not being there.
He won by default. Yeah. Yay.
Exactly.
Just like I hope to win everything.
Didn't fight wins because you're the only one left alive.
Exactly. Like it was like he basically won because everybody else was just gone.
It was like the dude that hid under the stairs in what's that movie?
Goblin Slayer?
No. Wait, what? No. There was an old I can't think of him. Drive me crazy now. No, not Harry Potter, Vlad. Get out of here. It's an old who's the guy that made Death Proof and stuff? I can't think of his name. It's escaping me. Drive me crazy. The director. He made Kill Bill, I think.
Oh, Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. I forget what it's called. They all rob a bank, and they end up fighting, and everybody dies except for the guy who just kept his mouth shut and stayed out of it.
It's Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, like Reservoir Dogs. The one dude who just kept his shit to himself, and then in the end, he left with all the money. After everybody else died.
My favorite part of that entire movie was when they were dancing, or when Mr. Orange, I think it was Mr. Orange, was dancing around singing "Stuck in the Middle with You." That was a good part of that movie.
I've only seen that movie once, but I thought that's a good lesson, chat. Keep to yourself or you'll probably die.
Well, yeah,
probably
if you're a criminal. Like,
well, to be fair, Mr. Blonde was a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the movie.
Yeah.
So
spoiler alert. The spoiler alert should come before the spoilers.
It's fine. It's really old.
Fine. It's an old movie. Anyway, what were we talking about? I forget. I got lost.
Hey, so guys, you wanna talk about video games really quick?
You want to talk about Anthem, don't you?
I want to talk about Anthem.
I figured you wanted to talk about
I'm
Anthem.
in. Let's go.
So for anybody not aware, this was the VIP weekend for those who have pre-ordered a new game coming out from EA and BioWare called Anthem. It is a sci-fi looter shooter game that is very reminiscent of Mass Effect, Diablo, Monster Hunter World and elements.
The best comparison I've heard, which is funny because I will get into the comparison memes later. Because it's my new favorite meme is that Anthem is every single game.
Right.
And I'm sure that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right, where people be like, it feels like Division and Destiny and Monster Hunter World and Diablo and
it's because they took elements from a lot of different things and kind of put them together, and what we got is Anthem, which is fine. I don't mind that.
But so the best comparison I heard was it's Mass Effect combat that has been proofed for multiplayer with combined with some Warframe and some Monster Hunter World with Diablo style endgame.
Yes. Yeah,
that's the best. That's the best I've heard from it.
Yeah. For those wondering, the Monster Hunter style stuff in the game is that when you launch to go do missions or free roam or do strongholds, which are basically like dungeons, you have to pick a loadout. And unlike other games like Destiny, where you can change on the fly, this game here, like Monster Hunter, you're locked with whatever gear you take with you. So
also, let's not discount the fact that the world is very Monster Hunter.
Yes.
Not in a bad, like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the
like,
world is beautiful.
No, the
There's
game
a lot
looks
of stuff
great.
roaming around. It's not empty. There's animals and stuff like that wandering around, which is something you don't find in
I will
like
point
Destiny.
out, I have
It's nice.
always thought Destiny could be improved with the addition of wildlife. Look at Borderlands. You fight the fucking animals that live there. Can you imagine how much more replayability there would be if you were doing Strike in Destiny, where like all of a sudden, yo, whatever insert said monster that lives in that cave, it's out this time.
Appeared, yeah.
No, like,
next time it might not be.
The reason I think behind Destiny skipping over that, like lore wise, is basically that whatever kind of killed off humanity kind of killed off everything else. So
yeah, I could see that.
There is a little bit of wildlife in like the EDZ
there
and
is,
stuff.
but you don't see. It's something you see like a glimpse of, then it's gone, right? Like it's not.
It's a tiny little touch to the world to show you it's not all dead.
Yeah.
Isn't there a rabbit or like rabbits?
There's like rabbits and like there's small like rodents and stuff that you can see running around.
Yeah. But how cool would that be though? Like that would be very cool.
It would be a lot better. It'd be a good added touch. It makes the world feel like it's alive, which is something you feel a lot with Anthem. There's a lot of lush vegetation, various types.
The rabbits with the funky ears that I keep murdering because I'm a piece of shit.
There's lots of different animals, from little harmless ones to big monstrous ones that will attack you, which is cool.
Yeah.
But
I also murdered those because I'm a piece of shit. They weren't bothering me, and I showed up to murder them.
I thoroughly enjoyed the game once I picked up a controller.
Oh yeah.
You know, I got like I'm playing mouse and keyboard. It's fine.
I told you you get Stockholm syndrome.
No, I adjusted my controls quite a bit.
Okay.
And I'm using them. I cranked my sensitivity a bit. I adjusted the, what is it called? I don't remember. There's a setting. It's all the way at the bottom of the flight control delay or whatever. I cranked that all the way up, and it gets rid of a lot of it. It's fine. It's fine. You get used to it. You get used to it, and then it's fine. Like I was able to fly around and transition from ground combat to flying back to ground combat. Perfectly fine. You just gotta learn how to use it. Granted, it's weird. Doesn't feel that great.
It does.
I would much rather there be like a one button to transition to flight mode, and then use your space bar to go up, whatever your crouch button to go down, and then hit that certain button to transition back to ground, or just like slam into the ground.
Now there are
melee.
I have heard from Drake, who's a friend of the people who are us, as well as I saw Professor Broman mention something similar, that if you treat it like flying for a flight sim game, if you're used to those, you'll have no problem with the flight in this game at all using keyboard and mouse.
That's because the keyboard and mouse, they decided instead of like having a 1-to-1 like every other modern game, they're emulating a joystick.
Yes, which is a little weird.
Which, if you have a joystick, goddamn, I feel like that would be hilariously fun to like be mouse and keyboard and then pull out a joystick
just sitting there for
like,
flight.
Honestly, that'd be so cool.
Now, to be fair, a lot of the people who are complaining, I don't mean comfy here, but a lot of complaints from people with the controls for this are people who are coming into this game from things like Destiny, from Division, from Borderlands. These are looter shooter people and first person shooter people, so they're not used to this type of control scheme. So I think that was part of the disconnect, is that people are like, I can't instantly understand this because my previous experience doesn't include this type of control scheme for this type of movement, and it upset them. Yeah, because frankly, gamers are, well, a lot of them are babies.
Oh, people will bitch and complain about the dumbest things.
Yeah, like, they're very easy to upset. So
not me though. I'm always calm and collected and never get tilted and mad ever. Never once happens.
One of my favorite things. So I was streaming it yesterday morning, very very like early in the morning. I was playing.
I saw that.
And so somebody came in to the stream of the person I was with and was like, "You guys are shills for playing this game. This is a stupid game." It's like, well, we're enjoying it. Like, I guess. And like, we're very aware that there are a lot of issues with Anthem, specifically the PC port. Yes. I can get into those later. I have a laundry list of things I'm upset with BioWare about, but this isn't about that. And I'm like, well, we're enjoying it. We're having a great time. And so the guy's like, oh, well, you must like getting hit by every single bullet and missile in the universe. It's like, if you play the game right, you're not getting hit by everything. Oh, I guess you're playing on easy then. No, we're actually playing on hard mode right now. Like every single, like he was looking for a reason to be upset with us for having fun.
Yeah, and there were people like that, unfortunately. And there's a lot of them like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's sad because like there's definitely a lot of issues with the game. There's a lot of PC issues a lot of stability issues, server stability issues. Servers I'm sure will get fixed by launch. Stability, we're 6 weeks old, but I'm still hoping the day one patch is a little heavier than 6 weeks.
Yeah, same.
It might be.
I'm expecting to be disappointed by the day one patch, but like maybe a couple weeks in that it'll be
here's the thing with this. It's so you have the main game and then you have the demo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the demo had to be finished a certain time previous to be able to go through testing and go live, right?
Yep.
Sure.
And then the main game is, they're working on that still. Now, the build we have for the demo is 6 weeks back. So that's 6 weeks of the code, right? So there's no point at which they said, okay, we've identified these issues and fixed it. Like we don't know how old the build actually is. They say it's 6 weeks back from the build that went forward. Okay, well, how long back was that build until they, diverged? Was it actually just 6 weeks, or was it longer because they started doing fixes for stuff? Because, researching a fix for a problem and a bug isn't the same as implementing it into the build.
No.
So, they might have identified problems with this build that then went on to be the demo that they fixed that were like 8 weeks back or 10 weeks back because they didn't know how to fix them yet, right? Because coding is a pain in the ass. Because you fix one thing and it breaks something else.
No, it's easy. Internet says it's easy.
Yeah, I know the
just
internet
fix
says
it.
it's easy.
Just
the
fix
internet also
it.
doesn't understand how.
Just fix it.
How the server problem is. Like,
I'm sorry.
Oh, just make more servers. Well, that's not actually the problem. The problem wasn't the fact they didn't have enough servers. They did.
I love the server problem that they had.
It's just their server problems.
It's a little frustrating.
I understand people finding it frustrating.
Problem, do you know the full extent of their servers, Copper?
Well, there's the fact that a bug was causing them to DDoS themselves, which is hilarious.
It wasn't a bug; it was just the way that it was coded.
And then, because
the way that BioWare coded their servers was that they were going to have it. They were going to have. You were supposed to send multiple reconnects and then join back into it.
Yes.
And the way the EA servers are set up is that you send one reconnect.
Yep.
So BioWare set up their code that in a way that worked with normal servers that didn't work with EA's servers. So instead, when I try to reconnect, I send 100 reconnect requests, and suddenly I'm taking the weight of 100 people. Also, I'm sure it was more than 100 requests, considering how long the loading screens and stuff were. Like, there was a lot going on.
So is that an issue with why the load screens were so long? Was it server time?
That wasn't why the load screens were long, but that was one of the things, like, that was a reconnect issue.
Yeah, that's why you would have trouble, like, it wouldn't load or reconnect stuff at times. It's just because the system was basically getting overloaded because the way the game was built and the way the server was built just weren't communicating properly. That was causing an issue. No, it's not the 95% glitch for anybody curious. That's something else. They have mentioned that it's caused by something else. They're investigating that still. But the server thing they figured out. That change is not too hard, at least. But
there was a much easier fix because it was basically going in. It's not something that really relates to other aspects of the code. It was more of a, hey, instead of sending 200 requests, send one.
This many. Yeah. So
like they needed to cap it, and that was all that they needed to do.
Yeah.
Because it was just an uncapped request.
Some of the other problems, such as like the 95% glitch, that's a different problem they're trying to solve. The whole fact people couldn't log in straight away when it first launched, that was just a fact of load. Like
that was, I think the login was a byproduct of them accidentally.
Yes, and it was exacerbated by the fact that you have all this traffic going through the servers that aren't communicating properly, so it doesn't work properly. so it's an issue. And there's no way to test that before going live.
Oh no, like
you can run as many simulations as you want, but frankly, stuff like this, there's no, way to test it with this much load as there is in the real world. There's not enough people. There's not enough computing power, right? Add the fact that then you have people with different ISP setups, different, rates and stuff like that for speed, and it's just a mess when you're trying to connect. Like, I'm surprised this shit works at all times for some games. So.
Oh yeah,
and they're working, diligently to get it fixed. I expect it to be fixed by the time we get to actual launch, because it will be. It'll be fixed by then. And even better, they're being upfront and honest with the community. Like, they're saying, "This is the issues we're having. Here's what we're doing to fix them."
Their communication was very good. Like, because the moment that they found out that they were DDoSing themselves, do you know how embarrassing that must have been for the devs to go and say, "Hey,
here's
guys,
the problem."
So we found out the problem with our servers. We have DDoSed ourselves. Like, coming out and saying that a super simple coding problem is the reason that all of these people are unable to play is like, it sucks. But it's something that they had to do. And they manned up and they did it. And they said, "Hey, listen, we fucked up. We're fixing it."
Yeah, that's the best way to do shit, man. Like,
absolutely.
So
you'll satisfy people who are smart enough to care.
Yeah, and as for everybody screaming on the internet, on Twitter and stuff like that,
fuck them. They're still upset. Nobody matters. They don't matter.
They don't it doesn't matter. Like, half of them aren't going to play the game regardless. Like, there's a bunch of people this is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this. I thought it was going to be like Destiny, but the way it was supposed to be made. Like, at no point in time did they ever say it was like Destiny. First off, it's not first person. Like,
oh yeah, I wish it was though. Like, I get so much more into first person games, like in as a whole. But still, I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of this game.
I think this game is better as a third person game.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I see the reason behind it with all the abilities and stuff, and like the flight.
And there's the other thing I saw when I was playing with certain people for blueberries. You'd have, like, I was with this one group, and we were going through and doing the dungeon there, what they call strongholds. And we ripped right through that thing. We ripped right through the boss. Anytime the boss would appear, he'd be retreating in like 30 seconds. We were doing that much like coordinated damage to him. It was great. Mm-hmm. And then the next time I go in, because I'm just, playing this over and over again because it's fun.
It's very fun.
I get a group that almost never use their abilities. Like,
yeah. Now, I had multiple runs with the same group, and like the last one, we were able to be like, "All right, you activate your damage buff. I'm marking the target. Everybody super now." And we were able to take out like half its health in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Because we were all coordinated. And that's like, cool. I feel like the fact that was so exacerbated, like the amount of damage we were able to do.
Which class had the damage buff? Who was that? The mark ability.
So the Ranger had a dome that you could put around that would buff damage for your teammates.
Oh yeah.
And the Interceptor has a mark target where the target will take will have 30% shield reduction.
Actually, it was 33%.
Mine was 30%. Cool. I had a 17. Interceptor, not a 19. Okay. So get off your high horse.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My horse is stone cold sober. Thank you very much.
There's also acid damage you can use to add debuffs to things as well. So
yes,
I was with one group.
I'm very excited because it's come out and
using their abilities, and it was such a slog because they were just sitting there and shooting stuff like behind cover. Like, they'd peep out, shoot something, go back in the cover. It's like, stop using your guns. Like, I know this is a looter shooter, but Anthem is built so that you can use your abilities all the time. Like, their cooldown is so minuscule, it's not funny. Like, it's ability spam here. Like, if you ever played Destiny and you wanted, you love mayhem because you get to spam your abilities constantly, you'll like this game. Like, because that's what it is. You get to use your abilities all the time. It's great. You feel powerful when you're using them. But if you start getting blueberries who are just like, "Oh, this is a loot and shoot game. I'm just going to sit here and shoot stuff and not use my abilities all the time," it's like, oh my God, please stop.
I am very excited because they've come out and they have unlocked they've unlocked every Javelin people play. So I'm very excited to play with them next weekend.
If you played the VIP demo, you either get to play all of the Javelins right now, or if you come back next weekend for the regular demo, you will be able to play all of them then.
Yes.
All right. I feel like
I have a lot of things I need to work on right now, so I'm going to be doing that next weekend.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next weekend, I'm going to be back to play the next 2 characters.
Well, before we started here, I jumped on to try out the Colossus just because I wanted to see what it was like.
I feel like the Colossus needs a buff.
I don't. I was playing as the Colossus. I think it comes down to playstyle and what abilities you have equipped on your guy.
Yeah.
If you have the flamethrower and the lightning coil on your Colossus, you will rip the crap out of mobs of people.
No, I'm talking like survivability. He feels squishy for being a tank. Like I literally have an ability that says, "Yo, shoot at me." You grab the attention and you melt because you just.
I stuck to. I don't have the ability on me. I don't have the rallying cry on me. I have another ability that reduces damage by 33%.
I had that
instead.
That's what I was using. I still felt squishy though. Like they started fucking ganging up on you, and you're still dead.
2 components I stuck on my character are both health ones, so my health is up by like 600.
Oh, you can stack those? Okay, I could see that being very useful.
I think you can, yeah.
I didn't stack those.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I stacked 2 of those on.
Okay.
That helped a bit. And the fact is, with the combos and the explosions going off everywhere and killing everybody, the weapons I have an increased chance to drop health drops. So I was constantly getting health drops. So I was always just healing myself.
I still feel like, I don't know.
And then with the combos going off all the time, it'll fill up your super fast. Then you just use that and you fully heal.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're just constantly doing that. Like it's really managing it comes down to managing how, getting health drops from, increased chances, and then using your super whenever it's up to max out your health again, which is an interesting choice they made. Like the fact that using your ultimate ability completely fills out your health and gets rid of any like overheat or something you may have, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I liked being able to clutch heal when dropping my super.
Yes. Oh, it's super useful. It's like, oh, I'm almost dead. Super. I'm alive, and I do a shit ton of damage.
Also, like, because I was playing Interceptor, and the Interceptor is a roaming super.
Yes.
It was super good for picking people up if they went down. Because if somebody was in the middle of, like, a super busy area, I could drop my super, run in. I am invulnerable the entire time, kill it all out, and come back. That was great.
Yeah, that's the other choice they made. As long as you're using your super, you don't take any damage, and you come out at full health, which is awesome. Now I heard with the Interceptor, when you're using the super, if you hit something with it and move on, it'll leave like a ghost attacking the first guy you hit. Is that how it works, or is it?
That might be an ability thing. I didn't have anything like that going on. I was able to run out, deal damage, and move on.
Yeah.
And I was able to take out most of the large bosses without any help. Because
we were playing with yesterday. I was playing with Dale here, Red, and Brofish, and I was playing on my Storm, and I was just following Red around as his Interceptor, and we were just constantly comboing stuff because whatever his setup was a setup, and then I would just hit it with something, and it would just explode.
Now I noticed.
What I found out, which was Red was playing that he was playing more ranged.
Yeah.
I was playing the same exact character, but what I ended up doing was I equipped a roundhouse kick that exploded people.
Oh, that sounds cool as shit. What?
So I would hit somebody and they would have a debuff on them, where they were hit by lightning, and then if I killed them, they would explode and deal like 4 times. They would either explode after 4 seconds, or I'd kill them and they'd explode and deal 4 times the explosion's damage.
Yeah.
Which was very nice. And so what I would do is I would run in, do that, and then any melee attack while they're being hit by lightning is a combo damage.
Yep.
So I can almost hit them, one-shot them, then they explode, and I take out an entire group of bats. And that was my combo. And I set that off a lot. It was very fun.
I noticed that Red had the ability to freeze, and then when you freeze something then melee them, it's a combo as well.
Yeah, he had cryo ninja stars.
Yeah, he was using cryo ninja stars all the time. And then the 2 abilities I have on my Storm, I have an Ice Storm on, so I can freeze enemies as well as cause a freezing explosion, which is cool.
Very cool.
And the other one that I constantly spam is the fireball. So it allows you to shoot out small little fireballs like super quick. You can fire like 5 of them. Or you can take time to charge each one, and you still have 5 shots. So you can charge a massive fireball, shoot it out, and it explodes in an actual area of effect, like an actual fireball. So Red was going in, freezing guys, and then starting to hit them, and I'd hit them with the fireball, and the whole group would just explode. Because they'd be charged for the combo.
Yeah.
And then everything else would freeze, besides just the one target he froze, because that's what the storm combo does. It spreads that effect to every enemy around it. So, and then they'd explode because he'd trigger an ability. So it was extremely useful for killing stuff super quick. And looking at the game and looking at what the difficulty things are for like end game and that's going to become super important, is triggering your combos.
Yeah, and I can't wait to do some high-level endgame stuff where you're going to be setting up combos with your bud. Like with your, you're going to have to coordinate.
Yes.
And you're going to be like, yo, I'm marking this dude with this. And then your buddy's going to be like, all right, combo away. And then that's it.
Oh, yeah. You'll have people who are going to like team up in like groups of 2 and the 4-man squads are going to be like one guy is the setup guy and one guy is the detonator guy, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to run around doing. And I like how all the combos work differently depending on what javelin you're using. Like with the Ranger, which is the balanced one, if you set off a combo, it does a large chunk of damage to a single target.
Mm-hmm.
The Colossus does the same thing. It's damage, but it's to a range around wherever you set the combo off at, which is why the Lightning Coil flamethrower combo is so insane, because it explodes groups of enemies. The Storm spreads its elemental effects to other enemies around the one combo. So if you freeze somebody and set it off that combo, it'll actually freeze every other enemy around them, which is super useful. Then they're not shooting you. What does the Interceptor combo do, Comfy?
So when you hit an Interceptor combo, and this is actually like, it just shows like you should be playing this super melee. If you combo on somebody, you get an aura with whatever element you comboed with. And every single attack that you have will have that element tied to it for the time being that you have the aura.
Nice.
And
so
it's
easily spread elements around.
Yeah. So basically, like what I do is I drop that lightning combo, and then I'd be able to run up to other groups and do chain lightning damage because I had lightning on all my melee attacks.
Yeah, that explains how Red was lightning everything then too, because that was something he was doing as well.
Because you drop the combo and then you just destroy things.
Yeah, I also really disliked about the Colossus how it's literally the only class without a shield, and it's the tank. Like,
well, you have a very big shield, so.
Well,
yeah, but that you can't. It gets destroyed. I was having my shield destroyed in seconds by some of these people. Like,
so here's the thing I learned. So for the components, anything that would normally increase the shield on, say, like the Storm or Interceptor, and that actually increases your shield health on the Colossus.
Oh, okay.
As well, there are certain abilities that you can activate and leave working, like the Lightning Coil, while you have your shield up. So you can just turn Lightning Coil on, put your shield up, and then charge its stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing.
Okay. And I did see a really cool like graphic that somebody made that was like, this is every single ability that every single javelin has, and here's what the elements of all the abilities are, and these are all the combos and how they work with every javelin.
Yeah,
I was gonna post it in the Discord. I'll need to find it again.
At least that we're aware of currently.
Like, yeah, no, it's everything that was in the beta.
Yeah, like I didn't find one of the abilities for the Storm, the Glacial Javelin, until like the end of Saturday. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what gets a Glacial Javelin? And I was like, it's for Storm. I'm like, the fuck does this do? And it shoots out 2 rays of like ice straight out in like a ray out of your hand, which is neat. And it does like 2,000 damage when it hits a boss. So it's like, oh my god, what the hell? And it freezes stuff. So I'm like, oh, this is neat. You can use that instead of like the ice shards, which is like the starting ability you get. So you can just go like full ice, full fire. There were a few abilities. Like the great thing about this is that the abilities are so varied, is that you'll find something you gravitate to that other people may not like.
Yeah. What I liked was looking at the graphic that I saw was all color coordinated on like these are your elements and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like the Interceptor was relatively elemental-less. There were a couple elemental things, but for the most part, it was just kinetic.
Right.
Ranger had a lot of explosive. Colossus was all over the place. Every single thing that Storm had was elemental.
Yeah, everything you do is an element of some sort.
Like everything was like, this is more white, this is more green, this is more red, orange, and then like Storm was a rainbow, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, the
Storm. I'm excited to try it out.
Like I've been loving the Storm. Like I found the build I like with the Storm so much. I went and took pictures of it, so that when the game comes out, I know what weapons I want to find to start with until I explore more in the game and what abilities I want to find.
I feel like crafting in this game is actually good.
Yes. I like the fact that you can craft more things based on how often, like for your abilities. I use the fireball so much, I can craft rare fireballs now.
Yeah.
Like blue fireballs.
Wait, is that how that really? Okay.
Yes, that's how it works. Is the more and more you use something and the more of the challenges you complete using that ability, it'll unlock higher level blueprints.
I didn't
for you to
look
craft from.
into any of the challenges or anything like that because I didn't give a shit to in the
I was just unlocking them just by playing. I didn't look to see what they were, like what to do with them. I was just going, I love this fireball. Just throw fireballs all the time.
Fireball.
And then I noticed on Saturday there, I could, instead of just being able to make greens, I could make blues. I'm like, this is great. I can make blue stuff now.
Yeah.
Which was great because I couldn't find a blue fireball. I was stuck using a green one for like ever, like after like 2 days. I was like, all right, I can just finally make one. This is great.
That's cool.
It's a good time.
And I'm very excited to dive back in next weekend and play with the new characters, and then full release is going to be dope. I'm going to have the week early access.
Yeah, I ordered that today myself.
Gonna be mega fun.
I went through my budget and cleared up space. I'll be getting it closer because I had like subscriptions and stuff, and I just canceled the ones that I didn't really care about.
That you weren't really using,
Like I had Hulu, and I was like, well, I'm not really using Hulu anymore since the shows that I was watching have been taken off of it. So I cleared up like $15 there, and then I was like, my Xbox doesn't even have a power cable, so I'm not using Xbox Games Pass.
Yeah.
So I cleared up a couple bucks there.
I mean, there's a couple games on PC you can use Game Pass for. I'm excited for the
I don't actually have a working Microsoft Store on my PC.
And there's the thing, the like Hulu alone, the $15 basically covers Premiere anyways for down the States, doesn't it? Isn't it like $15 a month?
No, we pay $7 a month, but we have ads.
Or you can pay $12 a month and not have ads.
Yeah, it was depending on what he was paying though.
I was
paying for
ads.
no ads.
It's
if he's paying for no ads, that covers most of the cost.
I was paying for no ads, and 2, I was paying for a Stars subscription on top of it.
So that should cover cost.
Because movies. No, like that was actually $20 on Hulu alone.
Yeah.
So like, and it's $15 a month. So like taking that off of my board, like I'm fine.
Yeah, you're actually gaining $5 more a month. You can go buy a copy.
Not how it works, but cool. But yeah, like I was able to go through and clear up my budget, and I'm able to do it. So I'm excited. I'll be playing it the day -7 with everybody else.
Yay. I really hope that I'm going to be able to afford to pre-order the Division 2 before the beta. We'll see.
I'm not going to be able to afford Division 2, I don't think. Period.
Yeah. Did you play a lot of the Division?
I can. I don't know if I want to. That's my thing.
I played a lot of the Division when it came out. I got to endgame, did all the endgame stuff on launch, and then stopped.
I think we actually had this conversation the other day.
Yeah. It's because Division, the first one, on launch, as soon as you got through the main story, the game kind of fell flat. It's just because the story, while good and a decent length, there wasn't enough endgame material on the game launch. Now, I don't think that's going to be the problem with 2, because it was such a massive issue with the first one that they know that's what the issue was. So I don't expect that to be the problem.
I mean, Division now is so good. I actually hopped into Survival yesterday for the first time. A lot of fun. So much fun.
I heard one of the guys say they want to bring Survival 2 too, which makes me think it's not in there to begin with, which is such a bummer, because it's a unique mode that would carry people
in
over
the current
for some
state
time.
of video games. People would poo-poo them for having a VR. Okay.
They would, but it's also part of the first game.
Yes.
And you can
Wait,
either
was
get
it a battle royale?
No,
yeah.
Not really.
I mean, what it was though. You could do
it's
PvP.
a survival mode. It's a survival mode.
You could also
you can either do PvP or PvE. You don't have to kill people in it. There's a version where you can just do by itself. So I would call it a survival mode more than the BR. But it's similar enough.
Realistically, I think the Division could have
BR-esque.
Imagine if you're playing the Division in like full scale New York City, and then you have a battle royale with that.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Okay, so Comfy, you never played it. So basically, what you do is your helicopter crashes. New York City is freezing. You are incredibly cold. You have to run around to gather materials and guns off of enemies to basically get deeper into the city and craft warmer clothing to stop yourself from freezing to death, all the while taking medicine because you're diseased. So you have to slow down your disease before you die, and you have to get into the dark zone because that is where there's an antiviral cache. And once you get the antiviral cache, you can extract and then heal yourself. There is a helicopter with 4 seats. It leaves with 4 people left. If you enable PvP, it is 100% a BR.
Yeah. On a smaller scale.
That sounds like the
It was really fun.
It's a very fun mode.
Dying Light battle royale.
The biggest issue they're going to have is the fact that if it's not into at launch, people are going to be like, you took out a feature of the game.
Yeah.
100%. They're going to go like, you took this feature out of the game.
It's very dead. Like, queuing takes forever for it, and there's not a lot of people playing it. So, like,
but
whatever.
That's also because a lot of people aren't playing it now. If 2 launched with it, you'd have a lot more lively people in it, for a long time. So they did do something interesting though for 2. They split the dark zone into 3 parts, rather than just being, in one section of the map, kind of in the middle of the map, where you can either cut through it or you're forced to take big detours around it. Kind of annoying. It's 3 separate bits, but they're on the outside of the map. So if you're playing the story or playing PvE and you don't ever want to go to the dark zone, you don't have to deal with having to traverse around this area that you don't want to deal with, which is great. They've also made improvements to the dark zone, such as, making it much harder to camp and stuff like that.
That's good.
Loading zones, which is something of an issue from before.
I still remember my dark zone days where
I never liked the dark zone, really.
I played dark zone in the way that we loaded into the dark zone with 12 people in a squad, because you were able to glitch it at the time. And what we did was, so you have 12 people in a squad, and we were all, the way that we recognized each other was we all wore pink jackets, because you really could only see the people in your proper squad, but you could get multiple people in. And so we all wore jackets. So we all wore pink jackets. We all wore white jackets for another one, but the pink jackets was the fun one. And what we did is we just ran through, and all of a sudden the game wasn't a cover shooter, it was a death ball game, and it was very hilarious.
Death ball. All right, I'm sorry. I'm done. Meme is done for at least 20 minutes. Probably. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm certain this game is going to have a lot of legs. It's going to attract a lot of people. It's going to hook a lot of people long term, as long as there's a good end game there. As long as there's a lot of the strongholds to do. If I know for a fact they said they're adding raids. I think they said they're going to be 8-man raids. Which would be
they did.
They
announced that at E3.
So 8-man raids, these strongholds. If there's a bunch of them. Then there's the contracts to do, which you can get from people to raise your standing with different factions and stuff, which is cool. And the ability to push, just like Diablo, to push enemy health and damage up to ridiculous, insane levels to get better loot and better gear and stuff like that, and try to grind these things out.
Those are going to start to take coordination and good builds.
Oh, hell will they ever.
And it's going to be so much fucking fun.
It's going to be something.
And, for anybody worried, well, I don't have 4 friends to play with. I only got 1. Everything in the game has matchmaking.
And
every single thing in the game.
Granted, it might be difficult to do some of that really end game stuff with randoms, but people
it might be a little harder, but
coordinate.
I'm sure it's doable for the people who are dedicated.
How much did people play that survival mode on Mass Effect 3? That online, the multiplayer in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah,
this has got a lot more depth, and it
took a lot of the lessons they had from Mass Effect with the combat, with the combos, and how people work together and stuff like that, and just turn it up to 11 because that's what the whole game is. It's great.
Why not 12?
Because I like 11.
Oh well, I like 32. So you're wrong.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
We haven't seen the whole game yet, so I can't say it's 12.
I mean, maybe it'll be 32. You never know.
It might be, especially with the raids. I'm because the one dungeon we have, the boss has mechanics. They're very simple because it's a simple boss because it's an insect, but there's mechanics there, which is cool. One of the story missions, where you're fighting those 3 lesser ash titans.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
They have crazy abilities. They send out shockwaves of fire on the ground.
Or another one easy combat,
and another one's throwing these giant fireballs at you. It's super cool. And these are the low tier, trash tier of that type of enemy. So, and we've seen from clips they've shown where you're flying around and you see one guy, one of these titans, and he's huge. He's the size of a skyscraper, and you're just tiny flying around him, trying to kill this thing. So
wait, they did? Oh,
yes.
I've been ruined by that surprise. See, that's what I've been trying to I haven't been watching a lot of gameplay because I want to be surprised.
There's massive enemies. There's big animal enemies. It's super interesting.
Cats?
We saw very there's these giant gorilla creatures and stuff like that that'll attack you out in the wild.
But are there cat girls for Comfy?
They're we're gonna get Comfy a body pillow cat girl. It'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What's the date today? What?
It's the 27th.
Okay, I was checking. I wanted to know when the hunt started because if that was going to start before the next podcast, I wanted to talk about it. But we have
a week. They pushed the hunt a little bit, a couple of days.
I heard on the jam that they're not 100% sure when the hunt is going to be. And for those of you not in the know, we'll cover it briefly. The hunt is
I think they gave a date.
Did they?
Recently. I think they did.
It's still set to be February 4th.
Okay. The reason they were looking at pushing it is
because the Division beta.
Because the Division 2 beta is out, and this is a charity event that takes place on stream. The problem there is that everybody is going to be playing Division 2. So if everybody's playing that, a lot of people, because it's better for their channels, because you do have to take care of yourself and your family. Plus, everybody who's tuning in to watch things like Twitch and Mixer and that are more likely to go watch Division 2.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's playing it, than something like The Hunt, where it's Borderlands, and they've seen Borderlands because it's a super old game at this point. Yeah. And they know what people are doing. It's I can either watch this thing of grinding, or I can watch this new content for this new game I'm kind of interested in and see if I want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
See, what will I do?
Right.
Right. So it just makes sense to postpone it a couple of days.
Yeah.
But some people in the Borderlands community did not take well to that suggestion.
Well, they got to do.
I can understand why people would be annoyed because they'd set the date and everything, and then it's oh, hey, by the way, everybody. And so
the announcement came out, so it's okay, well, they're not going to change the beta of Division 2.
Yeah.
So.
You mean they can't?
The Division beta starts on the Thursday, and the hunt ends on the Friday. So it's
they're missing a couple days.
Yeah.
That's why they're looking can we push it 2 days? And there's pushbacks. People you're just doing this because of the charity. It's yes, we're trying to do this to get more money for the charity. Oh God, no! We're trying to raise money for sick children.
How dare us? We're
the complaint from some people is just really? This is something you're complaining about.
Some people.
So it's just.
Some people don't allow you to have fun. I want to. Yes. Let me pull up a Twitter thing really quick that I saw yesterday.
The Florida man.
Why you hunt for the Twitter thing?
No. Oh my God, The one true Florida man. The Florida man to end all Florida men. That's a joke. I don't want to go into that one.
Okay.
So somebody basically you're not allowed to have fun or opinions, guys. I just want you to know there are people that will always tell you that your fun is wrong.
Yes.
A streamer on Mixer, I don't want to like go into specifics, but they tweeted out like Anthem is Destiny and Warframe and Monster Hunter and Mass Effect, and it's great. If you enjoy any of the above, you'll like it. If you don't want to play it because of the server issues or because EA, I suggest you just play a different game like Fortnite. Somebody responded, "It's trash. You're just a cancerous fanboy," using the wrong "your," I want to point out.
Of course.
People like you are the problem with the video game industry. You're like a battered housewife who keeps accepting shit games. Basically, you got words. Stop flinging shit you can't grasp. BioWare got it great. Explain how it's shit, then apologize before I call your mother. Hardly anyone can play the game. Okay, cool. We already said server issues are like gonna be fixed. And you avoid talking about anything negative. The servers are shit. You already said that. Doesn't even run at 1080p 60 on consoles.
How many games run at 1080 at 60?
Most games are still 30 on consoles.
Yeah, almost every game is, especially if it's running at 1080. It's a 30 frame per second game, no matter what.
Also,
game it is,
pointing out the fact that Xbox's big push is for 4K. I have next
quite a few of them. There's the thing. That's what these people never understand. You're never going to get frame rate over visuals on console because visuals sell games. And people don't want to accept lower visuals but a higher frame rate. They're like, well, why can't I have both? It's like, because the hardware can't run it. That's why you can't have both.
And then the dude said BioWare is trash because EA bought them.
Yeah. Here's the thing people tend to forget with that is that Mass Effect games, was it like the last two? Let's not count on Drum, like Mass Effect 2 and 3, as well as every single Dragon Age Inquisition game were all made under EA.
Yeah.
All of it.
Dragon Age Inquisition is a dope ass game.
Every single Dragon Age game. Everything people love from this company the most, Mass Effect 2 and 3, Dragon Age as a series, all came from BioWare EA. All of it.
Yep.
How are you complaining about this? They have a track record of good games. The problem is that people are like, well, it's EA, they're going to put microtransactions in. BioWare has already talked about how microtransactions work in the game. There's no loot boxes.
Every single game has microtransactions in the future. It's fine because if there's not any microtransactions in the game, you're going to start paying $80+ for the game instead of $60 with some optional microtransactions. There's, of course, bad ways to do microtransactions, i.e. pay to win.
Now, I'm going to
Thankfully, they haven't gone that route.
So the reason that they can justify having microtransactions in their game is because they are not charging for any DLC.
Yes.
That's the only reason. Microtransactions are not necessary in games right now. Games like Call of Duty shouldn't have microtransactions in them. No. It's bullshit that Black Ops 4 is operating more free to play than Fortnite is, and it's a $60 game, $120 if you want to actually keep playing it.
Yeah.
Simple stuff like that. Like, hey, look, you could get this, or we can just charge you out the ass on the side. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are making games a lot more free to play, and it's really, really infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because games are $60. I'd rather take a price hike in games. We haven't had one in a long time. I think we're overdue.
We haven't had one since I was a kid.
Yeah, we were just talking about it the other day.
To realize games have not changed in cost. They're $60 now. They were $60 back in the 1980s. I was buying games back then. That's how much they cost back then.
Yeah, games haven't changed in cost.
If you account for inflation, you're looking at over $200 American to buy a game. They never went up in price.
Yeah.
There's no other commodity that's like that. It's insane. And why haven't they gone up in price? Because the consumer would refuse to purchase them at the inflated rate. They're like, well, how come I got to pay more? It's like, because shit costs more.
Yeah.
Games cost more to make. So they need to find ways to make more money. Like Drake mentioned the other day when I was talking with him that, in what was it, Oklahoma? What state was it? Ohio, Oklahoma, something like that. I don't know your guys' states very well, but there's one state that if you're a business and you're registered in that state to operate as a business, like you have to be, if you don't turn a profit for 4 years, you're no longer a business. They take away your business license.
I forget where that was too. I think I was talking.
Like the hell? Like,
I don't remember.
Most game companies, when they're producing a game, take more than 4 years, especially if it's a AAA title, and it's a new one, and they're building everything from scratch. Like,
yeah,
it's insane. People expect things to be done immediately. They expect things to be low cost, and $60 is low cost for a AAA game. As much as people complain, it's not.
Yes,
and they want and on top of that, they expect games to have like 2,000 hours worth of time in them. It's like, well, I played this other game for like 2,000 hours. That's an MMO. It's like, yeah, well, how come I can't do that here? Because we're God of War.
Different experiences.
It's a different experience. It's like, go to a movie, spend 2 hours. Okay, you took someone with you. Hello, say goodbye to $40. At the least. Like, come on now. Like, if you get 100 hours out of a game, 20 hours out of a game, it's worth $60. Easy. But people don't see it that way.
Depends on how much you enjoy the time in the game.
Yeah. Like, I love God of War. It's an insanely good game.
It's on my list of things to play in the future.
You can finish the thing in like 20 hours if you really want to. It's not super long if you don't take time to go through like the side quests and stuff like that.
I need a capture card first for that.
They set up to tell a story. The story is so long, it goes from A to B, and that's it. That's what they did with it. They offered some side quest stuff on it, but it's worth the money more than. It's not $60 anymore. It's probably on sale now. It's probably dropped a bit because it's a little bit older, but I would still pay $60 for that game. It's that good of an experience. Like, I don't, regret dropping $60 on Horizon Zero Dawn when it came out. Why? Because the game's phenomenal. I don't get it. Like, I don't get people. They're like, I don't want to spend the money. It's like, some things are worth it. If you want to be entertained, you want to spend time on something, they're worth it.
Like, as much as I wish I could afford to play more games, I just, I can't afford to play every single new game.
They're expensive.
I'm not going to bitch about them being $60 because it's like, okay.
They're worth the price. Like, if I spend $60 on something and I spend 1,000 hours in it, I more than got my money's worth. Like, by far. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get how people are like that.
Yeah, and I never bitch about paying for DLC. Like, I don't mind microtransactions if they're done in certain ways. I don't care.
As far as I'm concerned with Anthem here, they've already stated they're going to be continually updating the game. They're going to be putting in things like raids. They're going to be adding more story content and more end-game content as time goes on. DLC stuff. All of it's free.
Great.
They're going to have... They're not going to have loot boxes. Great. People hate those. And they're going to have, microtransactions that are purely cosmetic so you can look cool. Cool. You know what you're going to buy before
buy them. I might support them. If I can buy like a specific thing, I might do it.
Like,
if it's not loot boxes, I'm not. If it's loot boxes, I probably won't. But
like, I'm pretty sure one of them is going to be the N7 armor stuff, right? Yeah, they've kind of shown it off already. So like, that's going to be something they're going to do, and that's going to be purchasable with real money. And you know what? You want it? Buy it. It's fine. The other thing to mention, though, is that you can earn stuff in-game to buy all the cosmetics with. So you don't have to spend real money. You can just play the game a shit ton. Hell, I'd be fine if they went, here's a new javelin. It's $5. I'd go, okay, cool. Here's $5.
That's not all right for me.
I don't know about that one.
I'd be okay with that just because that's a paid DLC if someone wanted it, right?
No, I don't. Like, if they're going to do free content and then...
No, I don't expect them to do that, though, because that is DLC I expect them to be adding for free. I do expect... They have said they will be adding more javelins at some point, but I expect them they're going to be part of the DLC. They're going to be like, here's a DLC, it's a javelin, here's a story mission to go along with it. right? It probably won't be a giant thing because adding a new character in is a big deal. It takes a lot of resources to make a new new character like that. I'm curious to see where they can go, like with these javelins, because they're all very different. They play very different. I kind of hope they make a healer at some point.
Yeah, they 100% will start to make like support,
like a full kind of support class where
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the first one they add in.
Yeah, like, or even abilities that, instead of a dome that reduces damage or pumps your damage, everybody stands in it heals. Shit, I'd love that.
Didn't the Ranger have one of those?
The Ranger has one that blocks all incoming bullets.
Oh, okay.
While it's up. It can still be, enemies can still walk into it in melee. And shoot you while they're inside.
I also saw that thing get shredded like immediately sometimes.
It can, yeah. It depends on, it gets more health the better, like the higher level it is. So it blocks more damage. And the other dome they can drop is a damage buff. So everybody who stands inside of it deals more damage with their guns, which is cool.
Cool. So I think we could all sit here and talk about Anthem all fucking day.
Probably. It's
a
very interesting game, and I'm super curious to see what's all in the game when it fully launches on the 15th.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to get into it. It's going to be a good fucking time.
It is, and I'm going to be super happy that I work from home and can go live as soon as it drops.
My name's Copper, and I'm self-employed. Fuck you. I got to go to work.
My name's Mr. Vengeance. I'm in a happy and fulfilling relationship.
I'm going to see if I can get a vacation day, to be honest, though.
What date is the 15th? Okay, let's
it's a Friday. I think I could.
Is it a Friday?
It is.
It is a Friday too. Wow.
So I'm gonna talk to my boss about getting a vacation day.
If you can take the day off, Dale, since the whole story can be played co-op, I'll jump right in with you for that.
That'll be cool. Fuck you and your vacation days, Vlad. I'm sorry you don't get vacation days.
And I think Comfy has school.
You won't get vacation days until a year in. I mean, I had the same thing when I started my job. Vlad.
And I'll never tell you to skip school, Comfy. So good class.
Oh, you say that now.
Like when I take a vacation day, I still get monies. So
God, I was strong back then.
All right, but next week is going to be that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Comfy has been going on about it for God knows how long now, and it sounds hilarious. So I'm gonna play it.
I hope you
play
like
it. Watch it. And that's what we're going to be discussing next week. The other two, the full weebs have seen this, so I'm going to be the lowly half weeb watching this all by myself.
Well, I'll
rewatch it.
I'll watch 5 episodes. I got to watch the last 2 episodes I haven't caught up on yet, and I'll go watch the first 3.
Okay.
The most recent episode is great because it introduces new Best Girl.
Yes.
And you will know that it's new Best Girl because her clothing is very revealing.
That's cool.
It is. No, I'm not even kidding. It's kind of hilarious. Like the intro scene where they show her, they show her like leaning over a table yelling at people, and like she's wearing very clearly like obviously just panties, and like her ass is like it swoops down and you can see her crack, and it's like, okay, all right, this is a thing.
This sounds like Dale's something that's perfect for Dale.
It's like stuff. It's so late in, he won't get
give it into
it.
Give context for why this chick is naked. Like if these characters are about to go do the thing, they could be naked. It makes sense, But if it's like, no reason. Oh, also, did we talk about how I finished Gurren Lagann?
Yes. Yeah, you did mention that you finished that.
Yeah, I was sick, so I took a couple days off from stream, and I fell asleep a little bit here and there. I napped.
Yes.
But for the most part, I watched it. I really loved season 2. I thought it was like, oh, fuck. Dope as hell. I thought it was great.
It was good.
I feel like you guys oversold the ending for me. I thought it was okay, but I feel like you guys were really talking about how it's like, what were you guys saying? You were like, it's great, but only for people in the future, and for a lot of people it sucked. I was like, well, the only main character that died really is Catan.
So how surprised were you by that little development?
Not very.
Which development?
The fact that
the death of the was it episode 8?
The death of Catan?
Yeah.
Not very. Not at all. Oh, Kamina. Okay, no, I was very surprised by his death in season 1.
Because he's
surprised.
because he's like such a major character.
Yeah, you're like, this is one of the main characters.
And then I also I got it. Like I noticed that Simone looked incredibly alike him at the end. Like he wore his same suit.
Oh yeah, no, that was
stuff.
It was supposed to be like the story of his transformation and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that, like, it starts off with the tiny little head, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and then like in the final fight scene, they're actually just throwing entire galaxies.
It's so stupid. The fucking moon was a robot. What the fuck? What? God, it was funny and it was hilarious.
I told you that the show takes nothing seriously.
We did warn you about the studio this comes from, and this is kind of a thing. They do weird shit.
Yeah,
like
it
weird,
was funny. It was hilarious. I also was like immensely just like, I thought it was hilarious that Yoko put more clothes on the beach episode.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It's like
a little turn on his head. Yeah,
I like that everybody's like, oh, why'd you put on more clothes? And then what's her name? Why can't I remember her name? Why am I bad? Mia comes out and everybody's like, well, you know what? Maybe less is more. And like Yoko's just sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me?
It was pretty funny.
We're gonna have a talk? Like, I loved that. It was great.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm glad that you decided to finish that show because it's a very fun one.
It was only because it would have taken me a lot longer had I not been.
Yeah, you had a couple days off.
I ended up taking 1 day off of work and then I took an extra day off of stream and I just binged it.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, you'll like this one just as much and just kind of binge through this one. You know,
I don't have time to binge this week. I will not because tomorrow I don't normally stream on Mondays, but I'm going to be doing a bonus division stream with Brofish, so that's going to be fun tomorrow. So I don't know when the fuck I'm going to have time to watch this show. We'll figure it out. So yeah, next week, that time I was reincarnated as a slime before I get flamed. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it.
He's not sorry.
I am very sorry, Copper. Okay, so where can people on the internet find you, full weebs?
All right, Copper, why don't you go first? I'm typing things.
Okay. You can find me at Copperline on Mixer. He probably is. Or you can find me on Instagram or Twitter as well. So if you're looking for any graphical stuff, I am a graphic designer with way too much experience.
He's really good at things.
And I'm old, so I actually have quite a bit of experience.
As you get older, you're supposed to get good at things. Nobody told me.
You are supposed to get better at them as you practice them more. Yes, I know it's a problem for you. It's a thing.
All right, Comfy, where can they find you?
You can find me at mixer.com/thecomfygamer. Or you can find me on Twitter at mixer.com/comfygamer, Twitter at thecomfygamer, and literotica/
you have me intrigued. I want please finish this link, please.
And what's your Pornhub?
Pornhub.com/squeezy titties.
I've seen Comfy. Don't go there. You're gonna be very disappointed. His titties are very small.
They're very small. I'm like A. It's really infuriating. Or you can you go ahead, Vengeance. Where can people find you?
You can find me mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance. You can also find my Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Vengeance X7. Because I can't just be Mr. Vengeance because other people have the thing.
Is that about it? A lot of people would have trademarked quite a long time ago. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe someday I'll be able to get a hold of it. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for 2.5 Weebs this week. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with that time I was reincarnated as a slime.